All right, we're going to start the meeting of the Noon Rotary Club. If you stand for a prayer, and Mr. Zach has volunteered, that'd be great. Zach.
All right, bow your heads with me, please. In his letter to the Galatians, Paul says in his final chapter, "So then, as we have opportunity, let us do good to everyone. And let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up." So, Lord, as we gather together today, let us remember the impact and the power of doing good in our household and in our community, in our country, and in this world. One thing we can never have too much of is people eager to serve. And so, Lord, I commend this day, this meeting, and this Rotary Club to you in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Zach. And the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Of the things we think, say, and do. Is it fair to all concerned?
Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you, everybody. Quick note, we got a thank you from the Merry Meals. One of our recipients actually gave us a card of thanks. Says, "Thank you very much for the gift card from County Market. Being both on retirement wages, it was very appreciated. Darlene and Glenn Olson." So that's a direct impact of our Merry Meals work. So very nice job. Other announcements, the Rotary District, we just changed some bylaws as a club. We voted to make sure that electronic meetings and emails are acceptable, legal parts of our meetings. So that's now official that Zoom calls are part of Rotary's meeting expectations. So with that, Mr. Ross.
Hello and welcome to Noon Rotary. And our guest out there, I think our speaker today is, if I get that right, Lena Scullard. Scullard, is that correct? I've got the Chief Willens out there as our guest. Hello, welcome everybody. See my hand over here maybe. Anybody have any happy bucks? Anybody happy today? Joel's happy he has a sandwich. Lena. Everyone, so Randy's got $1.
Unbeknownst to Isaac, I'm happy that I'm back from Mexico. It was a great trip. We really had a seamless trip with no issues, really. So you guys can get there, feel free. Ross is buying.
Yep, I'll buy all day, all inclusive.
Zach?
I am, Randy's happy for where he's been. I'm happy for where I'm going, I think. Tomorrow afternoon, I'm leaving for northern Wisconsin to go ice fishing. And I'd like it a little warmer than the weather forecast. We'll see. We'll see. Our tent will be warm. That's all I know for sure.
Good luck.
Yeah, thanks.
Anybody else happy out there? I think we have a raffle today.
We do. Tom Borowski brought this from the Hudson Hospital. It's a Kanoki's gift bag with a little piece of artwork in it and some chocolate. Yep.
Chocolate, yup.
All right. I'll take your dollar this week.
You can take my dollar again this week.
All right. First number is a 7.
Good dog.
Oh, wait, can I get in on this? I'm just kidding.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Find a dollar that has a 7.
But don't get your dollar from Doug. His is already out.
Are you in on it? You got a 7? Okay. Next number is a 2.
In order.
I'm out.
You sit him down.
Are we all out? Does anybody out there got a 2?
Somebody got 2 out there?
Good.
Joel? Joel's printing his own money. Another 2.
Wait, Joel.
I only have 1, 2,
Oh.
just 1.
Only have 1.
Okay, hold. You're still in, Joel. 8.
Yes,
Joel, you win. What do you for you?
I'll add that to my collection. Here's what Jody sent me this last week.
Joel, you're gonna have to tell us how chocolate yup tastes.
I'm a strange bird. I actually don't like chocolate, but my wife loves it and loves Kanokis. So I'm gonna score some points. Thank you, everybody.
We'll see if you really get it. You have any announcements? Anyone have announcements? Let's talk about the dunk it all where we're at here.
Yeah, so what's going on with the?
We're still waiting on
I
the.
emailed back,
Oh, did you?
yep, to use we've got a checking account, we've got an employer identification number, we got all the paperwork
Did you get
signed.
a IRS determination of,
We're gonna do it without it. We'll get it.
I
We'll
can't
get
set up the site until I actually get that. I can't set up I need that letter in order to, them to let us in. We can't do it until we have that.
So none of the information I gave you is the things that they need?
Not to have the actual letter from the IRS to send them to prove that we are a 50, because we're listed as a 501c4. But we're, in order to get that, then I need that. Otherwise, they won't let me access that part of the site in order to set up the dump site.
Chief Willems, I'm gonna say something, but I need you to mute your speaker for a second. Hey, we can make fake IRS letters. I'm just saying. Okay. All right, Chief Willems, you can come out.
We can try.
Anyway,
I asked Sonia about it because she was the one who filled out all that paperwork and she said, go ahead and go with what we have.
Yeah.
You should have enough information to be able to.
yeah, they want a letter of determination.
Darn. Okay.
Anyway, that's where that's at. Rotary minute or no rotary minute? No rotary minute. Well, guess we'll go right to our speaker and we'll hand it over to Isaac.
You're
Suck it
really
in.
trying to make a comment
it
here
in.
about
Come
how. So joining us today is Lena Scullard, who speaks to audiences with one goal in mind: to empower them to improve their confidence and their sense of capability throughout all areas of their lives. Lena is passionate about personal growth and interpersonal skills development, which she believes are the foundations of success for both individuals and teams. She's facilitated programs from Franklin Covey, the Pacific Institute, Achieve Forum, and DISC, and has been designing and delivering training programs for over a decade. In addition to several facilitation certifications, Lena holds degrees in theater and English literature. Thank you, Josh. She is here today to share insights about the importance of relying on our purpose. And when we are faced with challenge, change, and adversity, here to share more is Lena Scullard, because I can't finish her bio. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I want to start with a question for you guys. And on a scale of 1 to 10, think back on your past year and tell me, well, don't tell me, I won't make you share. But on a scale of 1 to 10, how successful were you at kind of living your purpose and meeting all your goals during the last year? Scale of 1 to 10.
Do we need to?
Again, you don't have to share it, but if that was your goals, I don't know many people were successful at that one either. Chances are the number you gave yourself is probably lower than what you'd like it to be or what you're used to it being, and that's okay. 2020 and even starting 2021 has been a rough time, right? I've been teaching goal setting for 10 years. I am a goal setter. I am a driver. I'm an achiever. And even I felt myself fall stagnant during this year and get stuck a little bit. In my job, I went from being this like proactive innovator, dreamer of a change agent, excited to be involved and offer ideas, to a very reactive kind of, I'm just going to wait and see. And if you need me to do something, tell me what to do and I'll do it. And that was the kind of employee I was for a while. It's okay. I've been there before and I know how to get out. And that's what I really want to talk to you about today, is to show you how to get back on track when you have those moments in life where you feel stuck or uncertain and you just don't know what move to make next. I'm going to share my screen. This is really, oh, Isaac, will you let me share my screen, please?
It's on, Lena.
What's that? It says that you've disabled screen. Oh, there it is. There it is. Thank you. All right, I need to move some things around. Everyone can see. All right, so really being able to get yourself out of these kind of stuck spots, these unsure places, is really about knowing your purpose. And I'm sure that most of you out there as members of Rotary understand the importance of this. But one promise that I make to my participants is that whatever it is that you're pursuing in life, you can survive adversity and you can survive change and the feeling of getting stuck if you're pursuing life that's rooted in a purpose. And before we get into, really looking at your purpose and how you define that, I'm going to spend a little bit of fun looking at why 2020 was so hard. I'm big on analogies and metaphors, and so trying to figure out, like, what is it about goal setting and being a goal achiever that was so hard in 2020? And I liken it to a little game that I used to play as a kid. And any of you 80s and 90s babies should recognize this guy. This is Duck Hunter. See, pre-2020, goal setting was a lot like the early rounds of Duck Hunter, right? You'd have a goal and the duck would appear out of the bushes, one duck at a time. And it had a predictable flight pattern. You could guess where it was going. And it came out and flew across the screen at a nice, stable speed. And so those early rounds were super fun, super easy. Bag them and tag them. The dog appeared and he was proud of the work you had done. But then we hit 2020 and we hit COVID. And it was like we got catapulted straight to round 6 of Duck Hunter. And if you know Duck Hunter, by the time you get to those advanced rounds, you've got multiple birds flying out of those weeds at varying speeds, and they're turning on a dime, and they're vanishing, and they're reappearing. And I don't know anyone who was ever able to beat Duck Hunter. At some point you failed, and the dog appeared out of the bushes, and you didn't know if he was laughing at you or cringing at your extreme disappointing failure. And eventually you just threw the controller and you sat there staring at that dog and pondering whether you should try again or quit forever. And it's very likely that you just decided to go get some pizza rolls and Yoo-hoo and watch some Nickelodeon until you forgot about the sting of the failure, and then you would go back and try again. That is what 2020 reminds me of. So when the task seems impossible and when your targets that you're used to being stable targets start moving and become unpredictable, it's really easy to want to quit or at least take an extended break. And in the case of COVID, many of us just kind of want to wait for it to go away. We'll just wait for it to go away and then we'll try again. But what happens if it doesn't go away? I had a make it go away moment early in my childhood that has really defined my life, how I drive forward through a variety of challenges and changes that I'm faced with. At the age of 8, starting in 3rd grade, I was diagnosed with type 1 juvenile diabetes. Now, the thing is, in 1990, in my small rural town, no one had ever even heard of diabetes. It freaked us out. We thought it was a death sentence. And I spent a week or 2 in the hospital getting educated and learning all about this illness and how I was going to have to manage this illness and what could happen to me years and years and years down the road. Kidney failure, loss of limbs, loss of eyesight. It was really scary. We learned what we had to do and we got sent home. And the night before I was supposed to go back to school, my mom sent me to take a shower. And she found me crying on the bathroom floor. And I said, Mom, I don't want this. Why is this happening? I don't want this. Please make it go away. Please make it stop. And she sat down on the bathroom floor with me. And I don't know if she knew then how profound it was going to be on my life. But she said, Lena, I don't know why this happened, but we can't make it go away. All we can do is try our best and do what we need to do. And that's what we're going to do. And then she said, now we are going to cry about it for 10 more minutes. And then we're never going to cry about it again. 10 more minutes. That piece of life advice has helped me so much over the years. 10 years later, first semester of college, I'm going to admit it, I did party scene as a type 1 diabetic, and I put myself in the hospital in less than a month. Intensive care. I was there for a week, and that week was my 10 minutes, and I wondered, should I quit school? Should I go home where my mom can help me, remind me to check my numbers and take my insulin? And I said no. And I took a taxi back to school when I got out of the hospital. 10 years after that, like clockwork, I had finally started to take care of myself, checking my numbers, eating right, remembering my insulin. I was getting exercise. I had just gotten married. I had just gotten the job of my dreams, and hours that afforded me to be able to return to community theater. I hadn't been on the stage since college. In fact, the first show when I got this new job was Footloose. I was so excited, 80s music. And I had picked up and I was getting ready to go audition, and my retina detached from my eye. And as I sat in the eye doctor's office and they explained to me what was happening and I was going to need surgery and the things I was going to have to do to recover to get as much eyesight back as possible, I asked all these questions. And in my 10-minute drive home, I decided I was still going to audition for that show. So I went home and I got my audition materials, and my husband said, what are you doing? I said, working on audition. And he said, but your retina is not even attached to the back of your eye. And I said, I know. And he said, you're going to audition anyway? I said, yes, I am. Because in that 10 minutes, I had to make a decision about how I was going to move forward, despite the challenge, despite what was in front of me. That was 10 years ago. And so now I wonder, this 10-year thing, what's next? And I remember a line from the TV show House MD. He said, kidneys don't wear a watch. And it's a reality that I have to live with every day, that a day from now, 2 weeks from now, 3 months from now, 20 years, my body could break down and I could pay for choices that I made when I was young and dumb. And I have to be okay with that because I know how powerful 10 minutes can be. So 10 minutes. Viktor Frankl, who, if you haven't heard of, was a psychiatrist that survived a Nazi concentration camp and went on to write a book about called Man's Search for Meaning. If you've never read it, I highly recommend it. But Frankl said that between stimulus and response, there is a space. And in that space lies our greatest human freedom. And that is our freedom to choose. So when I think of that space, I think of 10 minutes or 2 days or 1 week. The amount of time doesn't really matter. It's that you have a space. You have a space where you can make different choices, and that can have a monumental impact on the results that you have in your life. So as I started sharing my story with others, I really needed a way to clearly lay out kind of my process when I'm in that space. And that's where my Stitch It Up mantra was born. See, there are 4 mental stitches that I work through in these moments of challenge, in these moments of adversity. These 4 areas of thinking that I process are awareness, which is really about the lens through which I see the world, and understanding that if I want to, I can choose a different lens. Acceptance, letting go of the things that I know I have no control over, and then taking responsibility and accepting the things that I can is a huge part of this process. Deciding and choosing my attitude. And then finally, how I'm going to hold myself accountable for the decisions I make moving forward. So these 4 mental stitches have carried me through small inconveniences. They've carried me through interpersonal misunderstandings and conflicts, and they've also carried me through really big life-altering events. They carried me through my layoff when COVID hit. They carried me through the chaotic return to work when we opened back up again. And these are the cornerstones of one of the workshops that I do, the seminars that I do, that's called Stitch It Up. I wish I could spend more time with you today looking at each one of these stitches, but I don't. But we are going to focus on one that I think is really important. And that's because attitude is where the magic happens. This is where you go from simply thinking about your gut reaction, your emotions, the impulse that comes from stimulus. And it's where you transform it into intent and positive direction. And I call it Stitch It Up because really, no matter what it is you're dealing with in life that's hard, if you want to stitch it up, you have 3 choices for a Stitch It Up attitude. So 1, if you've ever heard someone say, oh my gosh, it had me in stitches, it means that you were laughing. And so when you stitch it up, you laugh because life is better when you can laugh about it. The other choice you have when you stitch it up is to heal, right? You don't just run around when you have a cut bleeding all over the place. You take care of it, right? You stitch it up, you heal. This is about forgiving. Stitch it up in your heart because life is too short for open wounds. And then your third choice, the choice we're focusing on today in Stitch It Up, comes from football. We used to have a football coach in high school that you could hear just yell. He'd say, come on, you gotta stitch it up. And he would yell it to the guys on the field, really meaning that, come on guys, you know this, right? We had a strategy, we practiced. So it means focus. So we stitch it up because life deserves our focus and our best effort. And it is in this choice to focus that we stay true to our purpose. And it helps us really set goals that help us move forward. I had mentioned that I've taught goal setting for 10 years. And the reason that I created Mission Accomplished is because I started to struggle with some of the concepts that I was teaching through conventional goal setting. So if you're familiar at all with, say, SMART goals, that teaches that goals should be specific. They should be measurable. They should be attainable, relevant, and time-bound. Here's my problem with SMART goals is that in a normal world, they're great. But if 2020 showed us anything, it's really hard to measure or to even know if something's attainable when the entire landscape of the world we know keeps changing and going back and forth. The second part that I have a problem with is it doesn't put enough emphasis on the why. Relevant is where you find the why, and it's 4th down on the list. And what happens in our COVID climate is if we're trying to just set SMART goals and we're not focusing enough on the why, we are left feeling filled with defeat and self-doubt and just lack of motivation. Why set goals and try to achieve them when it's likely that we'll fail? We're still feeling that sting. Like round 6 of Duck Hunter, we just want to take a break from playing the game, and we don't have the same time or energy or resources to take on as many moving targets as we have. When it comes to looking at motivation, where we're at and why we're struggling, I'm a big fan of Maslow's hierarchy. For those of you that are familiar, you know that this is kind of how humans prioritize their needs and pursuit of fulfilling their needs. For those of you not familiar, I'll give it to you quick. The most important thing we as humans need is to have our physiological needs met: food, shelter, water, bathroom breaks. Those are our physical needs. Once we've mostly fulfilled those, we can focus energy on our safety needs. This is psychological safety, stability, financial security, predictability. This one took a huge hit with COVID. Next on the pyramid is love and belonging. This is where we seek social connection and friendship and love and intimacy. This one took a big, huge hit in COVID. Once we've got those, then we can pursue self-esteem, the feeling that we bring value to the world, the feeling that people appreciate us, that they see us as someone that makes the world a better place. And then finally, the top of that mountain is self-actualization. That's where we seek a desire to do more, be more, contribute more. So I don't care who you are. When COVID hit, every single person on this planet's pyramid got shook. A lot of people fell. Some people fell all the way to the bottom. And some of us have managed to climb back up. And some of us are clinging for dear life, waiting for it to be over. And most of us remember what it felt like to be at the top, to be higher on that pyramid, and we're not there now, and it doesn't feel good. And we want to get back where we were before, but we just don't know how. So how do we do that? We go back to stitch it up. We focus on a target that we can set that never moves. And that is your purpose. That is your mission. So my Mission Accomplished program I developed is my goal setting program that starts with the why. And 1/3 of the steps, of the 10 steps, focuses on the why of your life before you try to set a single goal. Because if your goal moves, or you fail in a goal, or you stall out, or the world around you changes, your why will always be there. And the other stuff of goal setting is in my 10 steps too. I just don't put as much importance in it. A well thought out and a well-defined mission never moves. It never changes. It will never abandon you. When every single thing about your life becomes unfamiliar, out of reach, without sense or reason, your mission and your purpose is going to anchor you. Now, I was very excited to speak to this group in particular because this is Rotary. Now, when you think about mission statements, most people tend to think of businesses. Businesses have mission statements. Organizations have mission statements. Let's take a look at Rotaries. I'm sure you're already familiar with this, but we're going to look at it anyway. So first of all, what an incredible mission, right? And vision to stay focused on. This mission to provide service to others, to promote integrity, the goodwill, and doing it through business and professional and community, it is easy to be inspired. Here's the thing that's important to remember. Mission and vision are not the goal. They're the why. And then you set goals and you create programs around that. And that's what you can do in your life as well. So based on the why, just look at the work that gets done. I mean, promoting peace, fighting disease, providing clean water. All of this is the work that you're able to do because of that why. Mission is important. And as individuals, I guarantee you will benefit from defining for yourself a personal mission statement as well. I will tell you this, because I have purpose, I never have to fear an unknown future. Because I have purpose, I can plan around the things that might happen and be confident in my plan. I always have a safety harness on that pyramid, and I can always move forward despite a moving target. When I start to feel stuck, I reallocate my resources and I focus on what matters. So the good news is I have zero doubt in my mind that anyone who has given time and attention to being a member of this organization, I guarantee you probably already know your purpose, or at least feel a strong sense of personal mission. But I do want you to take some time today to reflect on it. And if you've never actually written out a mission statement, I encourage you to do that for yourself. In a longer workshop, in my Mission Accomplished workshop, I would take you through an exercise to help you envision the legacy that you hope you want to be remembered for. And this isn't about what you want to achieve. It's not about the roles that you want to play, the awards that you want to win, but this is simply about how you want to have impacted others. At the end of your life, what do you want people to remember you for? And then once we went through that exercise, we'd spend some time thinking about values and the values you were taught as a child and new values you've adopted in your adulthood. And I would ask you to evaluate them and determine whether or not your current values are serving you well in building the legacy that you want. And I would ask you if you need to add new values. And then last, we would spend a significant amount of time workshopping this mission statement. And you would walk away with a very clear and strong statement of purpose about who you are on a personal level and who you promise to be for those around you. But we're running out of time, so I do want to start you on a path to thinking about your mission. So if you all have a piece of paper or some way of writing in front of you, I have two questions that I'd like you to answer, and I'm just going to give you a couple of minutes. But number one, what is your purpose in life? No roles, no achievements, no possessions. Just what is your purpose in life? And then the second question, what is your purpose in Rotary? What does it mean to you? Where do you see that you bring value to it? And why do you continue to be a part of it? So I'm going to give you 2 minutes. 2 questions, purpose in life and purpose with Rotary. Go ahead. All right. I see many of you have stopped writing, so we're going to go ahead and move on. When you are clear on your purpose and kind of your mission, it makes setting and pursuing the right goals a lot easier and actually a lot more fun, driving and achieving. So even when you feel yourself shook or knocked down on Maslow's pyramid, sitting lower than you're used to or where you'd like to be, and you don't feel like you have the resources to dedicate to the same goals that you used to, you've got a million moving targets. It's really helpful. We're jumping to the end of my 10 steps of mission accomplished. It's really helpful to just identify one or two small weekly wins that can keep you moving forward so you don't feel like you're stuck. Take 60 seconds right now. In addition to what I just had you write down, I would like for you to see if you can identify just one win you could have this week for Rotary. What's one thing you can do to keep your purpose and your purpose in Rotary moving forward? Write it down, and if you're brave enough and you want to really be held accountable, type it in the chat box.
Randy can read it.
All right, I hope you were able to pick out something. Remember, you don't have to hit all the ducks, right? We're still in like round 6 of Duck Hunter. You don't have to hit all the ducks. You just have to pick like the one important duck. Just pick one that you really want to focus on that's important to you. And then finally, this program all comes full circle with the last step, which is daily focus. And daily focus is not about goals, it's not about checking something off the list. It's about just paying attention. It also brings full circle back to stitch it up. So are you noticing the spaces between stimulus and response? And are you thinking about the perspectives you have that you can change if they're not helping you? Are you letting go of things you can't control? Are you making choices in how you want to think? And are you holding yourself accountable to the process and to your purpose? So that is time. And I would love to know if you guys have any questions at all. I do hope that you find excitement and passion as you go through this amazing life and that you remember to stitch it up. We do have a couple of commitments made in the chat. Randy says he's bringing 5 guests next Thursday. They're going to hold you to that. And then it looks like Joel is going to publish the noon formation on time with no spelling errors. I have no idea what that means, but you guys are going to hold them accountable.
Any questions for Lena? Any questions out in Zoom land?
I have a question. Lena, how did you get into this consulting, coaching, leadership role?
Did you hear that, Lena?
Lena, the question was
No,
from
Keith.
Zach McCabe. Oh,
And how did I get into, I didn't quite hear the last part.
speak louder, Zach.
We need to move that box of chocolate.
Chocolate, yep.
Yeah, how did you get into this, this career path of leadership development, coaching and consulting?
That's a really good question. I actually had one of those moments of stalling out and feeling stuck right after college. So first of all, I don't understand how I even got so angry not being able to get a job with a theater degree. I'm a typical millennial, right? I was told if I got a degree, I'd get a good job and make lots of money. And there I was with my theater degree and couldn't find a job. I was just working a slot attendant job at a casino and just got really angry and had a bad attitude and a chip on my shoulder, and I almost got fired. And I lost my insurance for a while, which is a big wake-up call for a diabetic. And I realized during that period that, again, I needed to take a look at my circumstances and which things were my fault and which things did I not have control over, and make a decision about my attitude. And that's what I did. And it was amazing. As soon as I decided to choose a different attitude, opportunities started happening for me. I became a on-the-job trainer, and then I became a slot classroom facilitator where we would teach people about machines and how to pay jackpots. And then I realized I really liked teaching, and I started substitute teaching. I did that for 5 years part-time. Went back to school. I thought I was going to be an English teacher, and then a job opened at the same casino in training. And I applied for it and I got it. And so that was 10 years ago now. I've been training in leadership and communication, and it's absolutely my dream job, to the point that 3 or 4 years ago, I started my speaking business because when you work for a company, you tend to see kind of the same 100 people or so cycle through your classes, which is great. And you see how much it changes their life. But I really wanted to be able to share this valuable stuff with other people. So I asked for, and I still do work at that casino. I just told them, I said, I really want to do this. Can I have your blessing? I've always been open and transparent. And they said, yeah, go for it. So I'm here today because of all of that. So I hope that answered the question.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Wonderful program. I feel like my college psychology class is all coming back to me.
So that is actually next on my list of things to pursue. Like I said, I'm an achiever and I'm a driver. And so I knew I wanted to get a master's degree, but I think by the end of the year, I'll be returning to get my master's in psychology, just because that I'm a big nerd for that.
Very nice. Seeing
I am
none,
going
thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I am going to send, so both of the program I gave you today was like a mashup of what I offer with Stitch It Up, which is on, overcoming the challenges, and then Mission Accomplished is specifically goal setting. I'm going to send Isaac the 2 handouts that I use in those programs, just in case you want to worksheet out any of the things we talked about today. Look for that from him.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so
Hey,
much.
Noel.
Please connect with me on social media, and Isaac, feel free to share my email if anybody has other questions, to reach out and connect. I would love that.
Will do, Lena.
No other
Thank
business
you
before
all.
Rotary. I will